Hello everyone, welcome to the Grim Tutors, your one-stop shop for all things Magic the Gathering. I'm Colton, also known as Pez.
And I'm Oblivion. So, what are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about the new and very cool mechanics from the upcoming Magic the Gathering set, Duskmourn.
Our first mechanic is a brand new card type, and I think that they are very, very cool. So we have runes. Runes are enchantments that have two locked doors because they are runes. It's kind of like if a saga and a split card had a baby in a haunted house. I mean, literally, right? Yeah. So each rune card has two halves, and each half is called a door. So as you cast the card, you're picking one of its halves, and that's the door that you are unlocking. The abilities of that half of the card, that room, are the ones that applies. So if it has an ability on it that triggers when you unlock the door, it will trigger when the room enters. If it has other triggered abilities, those will go off when they are supposed to. Static abilities of that half will apply. Everything that's on the other half of the card that you did not cast, the other room that is locked, don't worry about it. Don't matter. Not right now.
Until
you unlock it. So if you had the room that is half Dollmaker's Shop, half Porcelain Gallery, if you have that card in your hand, you can choose to either cast Dollmaker's Shop or Porcelain Gallery, but not both. So if you choose to cast Porcelain Gallery, you would pay 4 colorless and 2 white mana. Then once it's on the battlefield, creatures you control will have the power and toughness boost. The triggered ability of Dollmaker's Shop doesn't exist yet because that door is still locked. But once a room is on the battlefield, you can unlock a locked half at sorcery speed by paying the locked half's mana cost. Unlocking a door this way is a special action that does not use the stack, which could be important, and can't be responded to. If that half has any abilities that trigger when you unlock this door, then that's when those would go off, and the other static abilities of that half are not active. Unlocking the second half of a room doesn't affect the half that's already unlocked. It stays unlocked, and now you get everything. It's got everything.
The whole shebang. Count them, 2 rooms.
If a room card enters the battlefield without being cast, say it's coming back from the dead from your graveyard, or it was put onto the battlefield some other way, both of the doors will start locked. None of its abilities will be active, but you can unlock any locked door by paying its mana cost at sorcery speed. You have to pay mana into it for a door to be unlocked. For instances where mana value may matter, if the Porcelain Gallery side of the room is the only part of the room that's unlocked, then that permanent mana value is 6. Both of the doors were unlocked, then the mana value would be 8.
Oh, that's interesting.
If both doors are unlocked, the permanent has 2 names, so it kind of like adds a little name badge to itself when you unlock the other room. In your library, in your graveyard, and in your hand, a room card has the combined mana value of both its halves and has both of its names. If you had something that allowed you to search your library for a card with mana value 3 or less, you could not find this room because even though Dollmaker's Shop has a mana cost of 2, the other side adds in, and the whole mana cost of the card is 8. I think that they sound really fun and interesting.
I think they're an interesting thing for sure. It's definitely a design space that hasn't been, messed around with before.
And it adds in the fun of like enchantment sagas where you kind of get different things, but by having it be a mana cost, you can choose when it happens instead of it being after your draw step. You get to choose when the other effect comes. The next mechanic up on the list is Manifest Dread. One of the cards featuring this new mechanic is Unwanted Remake. 1 white mana instant, destroy target creature, its controller manifests dread. So Manifest already exists in the game, right? You reality shift your opponent's something into their library.
they manifest the top card of their library. So they put the top card of their library face down. If it's a card that has mana value, they can pay it later on and flip it over. The interesting thing about Manifest Dread is that player instead looks at the top 2 cards of their library and then puts one of them onto the battlefield face down as a 2/2 creature and the other into their graveyard. If it is a creature card, it can be turned face up at any time for its mana cost.
By getting to look at 2, you might have a higher chance of being able to manifest a creature.
Right. Instead of like getting one of your good cards as a 2/2 creature that is basically dead now, you get to hopefully find a creature that you can eventually turn face up for its mana cost. One of the cards featuring this new mechanic is Unwanted Remake. 1 white mana, instant, destroy target creature, its controller manifests dread. Sounds like Swords to Plowshares to me.
Swords to Plowshares, no life gain.
I heard someone post on Twitter with my ears that they called it Swords to Plow Scares.
Whoever tweeted that, I love you. It's great.
I think it was Veggie.
So it's perfect. That's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Next we have Impending. Impending is an alternative cost that says if you cast this spell for its impending cost, it enters with 4 time counters on it and isn't a creature until the last is removed. At the beginning of your end step, remove a time counter from it. This is another thing that's
like suspend,
but it happens at your end step.
But it happens at your end step instead of your upkeep.
Yeah, the cards from Duskmourn that have Impending are enchantment creatures. They're all of these, it's a cycle of overlords. So they're all enchantment creatures, and if you cast them for their Impending cost, they're just enchantments. Kind of like the old gods that aren't creatures until you
like Xanagos and others.
Yes. So for example, Overlord of the Hauntwoods has Impending 4 for 1 colorless and 2 green mana. So if you chose to cast Overlord of the Hauntwoods in this Impending way, if you cast it on a discount,
when you impend.
Yeah, exactly. So when you cast it at Impending 4 for that discount, the enchantment creature will enter with those 4 time counters. It's just an enchantment until the last time counter is removed, and the time counters get removed at your end step. Even if you cast Overlord of the Hauntwoods or any of these Impending Overlords for their Impending cost, you will still get the enters trigger.
Yeah.
So for 3 mana, you still get to make a colorless land token named Everywhere that is every basic land type. If you cast Overlord of the Hauntwoods for its normal mana cost of 3 colorless and 2 green, then it would just be a creature automatically. It would still be an enchantment, but you would just have a 6/5 right then.
Next up, not a new mechanic, but a new triggered ability called Survival. So Survival has to deal with when your creatures are tapped, but in your second main phase. So say you went to combat and attacked with your Veteran Survivor. In your second main phase, it will check and see if your creature is tapped with the Survival ability, and then at the beginning of your second main phase, if it is tapped, exile up to 1 target card from a graveyard. If a Survival ability does trigger, that ability will check again as it tries to resolve to see if the creature is still tapped. If the creature is still tapped, the ability resolves. If the creature is untapped at that time, it won't do anything.
The survival abilities also don't really care about how the creature became tapped, whether it attacked or
you used a spring leaf drum, like some sort of thing like that.
Veteran Survivor also says that if there are 3 or more cards that are exiled with it, it gets +3/+3 and it has hexproof. All creatures that have the survival abilities have a new survivor creature subtype.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that they made that choice because I think it's going to be easier to remember that they have it. Our last ability is Eerie. Eerie abilities are triggered abilities that trigger whenever an enchantment you control enters and whenever you fully unlock a room. This means that you could potentially have an Eerie ability trigger twice because a single room has 2 doors. Because it comes in, like you cast a room, it comes in with one side unlocked, you unlock the other side. Bada bing, bada boom. Eerie. Scrabbling Skull Crab says, whenever an enchantment you control enters and whenever you fully unlock a room, target player mills 2 cards. 2024 Ruin Crab, baby. Let's go. Now, something very cool and amazing and exciting is happening. It's an old way to play, kind of getting brought back to life.
They brought Archenemy back, baby.
Yeah, they brought Archenemy back and they made adjustments so you can play Archenemy in Commander.
Wow.
Yeah. So Archenemy in Commander is kind of like two-headed giant meets. So, if you want to play Archenemy in Commander, here's what you do. You have 4 players, and you need to decide who is the Archenemy. Pez is the Archenemy. So me and the other 2 players in this 4-person pod are now one team. We're the heroes. We all take a shared turn together, just like Two-Headed Giant. Draw a card at the same time, take a main phase at the same time, attack at the same time, all that stuff. We can cast spells on each other, but we don't share resources. The Archenemy will take their turn. Whenever they attack, any player on the hero team can block them because they share a life total. It's just like Two-Headed Giant, but instead of 2v2, it's now 1v3.
Yeah.
The Archenemy, you're thinking it's 1 versus 3. This is not a fair fight. But the Archenemy gets to play with the scheme.
Scheming.
On the Archenemy's turn, at the beginning of their first main phase, they'll flip over the top card of the scheme deck and do whatever it says. So if you pulled, I will savor your agony, what would happen?
When you set this scheme into motion, choose 3. You may choose the same mode more than once. Destroy target creature. Target player draws a card. Target player gains 5 life.
That's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
There are even some ongoing schemes that stay in play until it tells you to abandon it. Because I Have Willed It is an ongoing scheme that remains face up until it's abandoned. Spells that you would cast as the Archenemy cost 1 less. At the beginning of the hero team's end step, if they cast 4 more spells, then you would abandon the scheme.
Okay.
Yeah. So in Archenemy, when you finish resolving a scheme or when an ongoing scheme is abandoned, it goes to the bottom of the scheme deck, so you'll never run out. Life totals are a big thing with Archenemy because since this was normally like a 1v1 thing, the adjustments to your life total were very different. With 60 card decks, the Archenemy would have 40 life, and the players against it would have 20 life. But in Commander, you already start with 40 life, so then that just like gives the hero team a big disadvantage. In 60 card decks, also, all of the heroes have their own life total, so it was best to kill people off one by one. But that is not necessarily the most fun thing to do, because then once you've killed me first, I have to sit there. They changed the life totals to be more similar to Two-Headed Giant. So in Commander Archenemy, the Archenemy themselves has 60 life, and the entire hero team also has 60 life. So they will win or lose together.
That's a nice way to fix that.
Yeah. And I think it makes the, like, attacking the hero team, but any player can block with any of their creatures, I think that makes it make a lot more sense. I think it makes a lot more sense because if you're all sharing a life total, it makes sense that everyone's sharing a life total, so everyone gets the chance to block with whatever they might have.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The very fun thing about schemes in Commander is that you only need 10 schemes to play. And WotC had the hookup with this because each Commander precon comes with 10 schemes.
I'm glad they did that.
Me too.
It's kind of like the Thunder Junction thing that they did.
The bounties?
Yeah, the bounties. They each came with bounties in them.
Yeah. And I think it's really cool that if you only need 10 schemes to play, that even if everyone in your pod wasn't playing a Duskmourn precon or Duskmourn cards at all, if you had the schemes,
then you have the schemes.
Then you have the schemes. You can take all 40 of the schemes between all 4 precons, but you don't need to. You only need 10.
Thank you so much for watching.
If you're ready to get spooky too, check out the link in the description below where you can pre-order everything from Duskmourn House of Horror. Pre-release starts on September 20th and official release is September 27th.
If you like what you saw, please like, subscribe, leave a comment.
If you like to support the show, you can check us out at patreon.com/thegrimtutors. You can also find us on social media at GrimTutorsMTG.
We have a Facebook now.
We do.
Facebook is no longer for old people.
I mean, it still is, but we just have one.
But we have one.
Yay!
Yay, Facebook.
Also down below, you can find our collab with Jank Mats, where you can pick up a Tutti Cuties playmat of your own, as well as our Bonfire merch store. We will see you in October at MagicCon Vegas, and we'll see you in December in Philadelphia for PAX Unplugged.
And make sure to come and see us, because we got new cute stickers.
We got new stickies. We got new tokens. We have the stickies that we had the last time.
Mm-hmm.
We have us.
Both of them.
Both of them.
Just like the rooms. 2 of them.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoy. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.